and welcome to the True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North, and I'd like to thank the sponsors of this show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis, Anne C. Clark, and my lovely guest who paid to be featured on this episode. Joining me today is a woman I met last month, someone who has been on an incredible journey, and she's now ready to share her story. Kerry Blaser Bouzaglo grew up in a single mother household in Southern California, facing isolation and challenges that shaped her early years. Seeking solace, she poured her energy into work and academics, starting a 6-year stint at Hot Dog on a Stick before shifting her focus to Chinese and religious studies in college. In 1995, Kerry married an Israeli man she met in Tibet and soon earned her master's in Eastern Asian Studies from UC Santa Barbara. That same year, she began her journey as a mother to 3 children. By 2005, after her divorce, she built a career in health insurance compliance. In 2015, the loss of her mother on Kerry's 45th birthday marked a turning point. Compelled to confront her psychic gifts and childhood trauma, she navigated a decade of healing, spiritual awakening, and transformation. With support from shamans, psychologists, yogis, and medical experts, she learned to channel emotional pain into personal wisdom. Kerry's deepest growth emerged through relationships with influential men who became mirrors for her wounds. Chess champions, decorated instructors, and security professionals. Their presence revealed the universe's reflective nature. Now, Kerry draws on her journey to inspire others to transform their emotional wounds into wisdom, sharing her insights for healing and personal growth. Welcome to the show, Kerry. I am so pleased that you're here with me today.
Thank you so much. What an amazing introduction. And we can't forget about my job at Hot Dog on a Stick. Have you looked up what Hot Dog on a Stick is?
Yes, because it's very American.
And like lemonade. And it was all girls. My mom's best friend's daughter managed it. And it was a great job for me. Yeah, it was a great job for me.
And I could imagine that it would have been really a defining moment for you at that age because you were feeling isolated, and with everything that was going on for you, that, you know, from 14 to 20, having that that support and that network, particularly if you said that they were all women as well, that would have been quite emotionally supportive for you.
You would imagine it would be.
Oh, but not.
But this is the thing, you know, we attract what we are, right? And I had a lot of insecurities, and I in my book, you mentioned the men. I met who I call my original hero in my childhood. And so that job, it kind of came about as a direct result of a kind of crash and burn between us. Like, I'm getting a job.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happened was I had a very traumatic childhood, and I share where it is now, and I share his name now and everything. But it's in Southern California, Westlake Village, a very affluent town, about 15 minutes from Malibu, 15 minutes from the Bachelor Mansion in Malibu, right?
Right.
And my parents got a divorce when I was 6. And I'm pretty sure I was at elementary school with him. His name is Jason. But my mom moved quickly, and I didn't see him again until high school. When I'm 14, he's 16. He's ASB president of like 2,000 kids, over 6 feet tall, super good looking, in like, advanced placement, varsity letterman, and I don't remember elementary school. And he gets the most popular kid in senior year to introduce him because I wouldn't let him talk to me. And I'm like, and I wouldn't let him talk to me. I was terrified. I thought he was making fun of me, teasing me. I thought he was making fun of me, like teasing me.
Yep.
And I just ran away. He quickly, because, had a picnic lunch with another girl. And, I went and got a job.
Right. Okay.
You see, like it was, I didn't know how to solve the problem. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we danced briefly at homecoming the next year until I ran away crying, and you know, I was hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to be an emotional center, and he was a super conservative family. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to be super conservative. My mom was an alcoholic. My dad was a workaholic. He left me home alone at night and slept at his girlfriend's house. There's no like, I'm protecting myself. Like what?
Yeah.
I hope, my brother was there, but he's a year and a half older than me. Like what are he gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, hot dog and a stick really kind of gets going for, I
Mm-hmm.
say that I'm Mary Magdalene Soul, and I
Mm-hmm.
so appreciate you, Megan. Like, I'll just be honest with the audience. I didn't write that at first because it's hard to come out, but then you shared that this episode will air on December 24th. I'm like, in Australia. I'm like, oh, what happened on December 24th last year is so these men in my book, they mirrored my wounds back to me. I didn't go on a date with any of them. And they all led me back to Jason from my childhood. And I didn't remember Jason because I just repressed.
Oh, so you didn't even remember him. Oh, that.
Barely remembered him.
Yeah.
I remembered maybe I remembered a little bit on and off. I remembered him when I started my son in Boy Scouts because he came one time with his brother. They were both Boy Scouts, and
Right.
so Westlake, that wasn't a cool thing to do, but he didn't care.
Yeah.
He did it one time and came right where I was, and I saw him. Okay, that's okay. My son is an Eagle Scout
Yeah.
because of, that's how impactful this man is on my life.
Mm.
So anyway, my intuition guided me to reach out, and I go over this in the book in November of last year, like 2 days before the election, and I'm like, Jason, I gotta wait, what? I haven't 40 years, like what? Huh? But I knew by that point, like I have to follow my intuition, so I did. He read the post, my message from Facebook, but he didn't get back to me. And I saw, I'm like, oh, I found him on Facebook. Oh, he's head of global security at GoDaddy. Like, I don't know what GoDaddy is, but I'll just go message him. I had no idea what GoDaddy was. Okay. So I messaged him. And then all this healing starts, and all these things happen. And I'm shown that I'm an agent of God and that agents of God hide things in one lifetime to be found in another. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just got to heal. Like I'm facing my rape wound. I'm had like a hysterical pregnancy for 3 weeks, like in and out of enlightenment. Like it was gnarly. And
Mm.
then on December 24th, I went to the doctor. I'm not pregnant. Okay. It was from my childhood, a wound from my childhood. And, but I still need to speak to him. I haven't spoken to him yet. I had to call the police in September when those memories finally came back 9 months later, and
Wow.
clear enough for me to go, okay, I can call the police now and I can report now. So it's like the pregnant historical, you can, yeah. So anyway, but I reached out and I apologized on December 24th and said, I'm sorry I wouldn't let you talk to me. You were like climbing the Mount Everest of romance and I didn't know how to handle it. I
Mm.
was ill prepared to be the emotional center from my childhood trauma because I was so busy protecting myself, providing for myself, masculine, when he and I both needed my femininity that I
Mm.
had no access to.
Yeah.
Femininity gives, has compassion, communicates, emotionally stabilizes.
Yeah.
My mom was an alcoholic. I freaking had no
Mm.
clue.
Yeah.
So when you told me that this episode will air in Australia, a country I've been to and that I love, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be Mary Magdalene Soul. So thank you.
Mm.
Like, we had an amazing conversation last month, totally opened me, and I've opened a ton since. So I just thank you, Megan.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you're here and that you're sharing all of this and that you're on this new journey.
Thank
So
you.
we've touched on a small part of your journey with your introduction and you've just talked a little bit about it then. But what was the defining moment that has now led you to pursue, and I'm going to say passion and purpose, because when you talk about Mother Mary Magdalene, when you talk about this, your passion is there, and clearly it's a new purpose that you're on. So what was the defining moment? Like, that, was there one moment, or was there a few moments?
There was one. My mom passed away on my 45th birthday.
Yeah.
And then that was the day that my intuition told me it's time to accept your psychic gifts, and it's time to heal from your childhood trauma. So I started to learn how to surf the waves of life. I mean, I thought life was only a valley of darkness. I mean, I had 35 years of debilitating lower back pain. My lower back pain started when I was 15 and a half. Jason's 2 years older than me and left for he's Mormon mission when he was 18 and I was 16. You know, I bought a car, a green car. Green is the heart chakra, but I didn't know it. You can see on my website. So I bought from Hot Dog on a Stick money, and my grandma and my mom, even though my dad made problems, right? I brought a Kelly Green Carmen Gia stick shift, and I owned that thing. I owned it. Like, green is my favorite color, you know? So, yeah. That was how it really started, was my 45th birthday. And then that was 4 years later, my youngest daughter. So these are my three kids. Ethan's over here. And then my older daughter, Yael, my youngest daughter, Orly's over here. And then that's my mom. They all have my back. So my youngest daughter, Orly, developed an eating disorder from all of her dad's childhood. He's Israeli. That just speaks for itself, right? So, and like something else about being Israeli, like tomorrow is the 30th anniversary of Itzhak, because we're taping on November 3rd. November 4th is the 30th anniversary of Itzhak Rabin's assassination. And Amit, my ex-husband, I met him 2 weeks after Rabin was in Beijing for the historic Sino-Israeli meeting. And he has personal pictures of the Israeli flag next to the Chinese flag around Tiananmen Square. Now, he's former Israeli Defense Force, like Special Forces, right? So he was seen like part of that entourage. And so now that this is all coming out, like Mary Magdalene, 30th anniversary of Rabin, like so many other signs and synchronicities, I'm like, now is the time for healing. Like, I repressed the pain in my womb. That's why I had 35 years of like debilitating lower back pain, hard time cleaning and cooking and caring for my kids, like gnarly pain. So then my youngest daughter blamed me for her eating disorder. I came home. I took all the medications I had, trazodone and Soma and Klonopin. Like, it was, gnarly. And went upstairs and went right to sleep. And I couldn't sleep. And I just let go. And my older daughter found me the next morning, saved my life. But then when I healed, I knew this is Kerry 2.0. Now it's the time to climb my ladder of self-belief. And that's exactly what I did. And I did medicine journeys. And about a year and a half later, I had my first longer conversation with my first hero. He's Jewish. He was speaking about Israel in a kibbutz, and we spoke some Hebrew. And that was my first hero, not knowing about Mary Magdalene's soul, not knowing that Jason Colvin, JC, right, looks to me from all sides is Jesus Christ's soul. Like, I had no idea. I just was living my life. Oh, I want to go to China. Oh, I want to go to Tibet. Oh, Israel. Let's go to Australia. Cool. Learn to scuba dive. Like, I just lived my life, had the kids, and then this all happened. My soul has a plan for me. So that's how I learned.
So when you were in the corporate world, when you were working in the health insurance industry, did you have any intuitive inkling at all, or were you just completely blocked off to everything?
Oh, yes. So that was part of my prep work before I talked to my first hero, Tim.
Right.
So in the book, there's this, like, I can't get into it for attorney-client privilege.
Yeah.
But the girl did some good work.
Right.
and got a lot of claims paid. I mean, I pulled to me an issue that it could have taken down the company. And I just, they decided to have that department be overseen by compliance by a completely different compliance department that was not under the main compliance department after that. Because I pulled the darkest to me. I mean, I went toe to toe with a guy 3 below the CEO, went to meetings, and what do I care? I'm like a low-level compliance, and I'm not under his structure. And I can't problem after problem, and I do the research, and I come prepared. And he uses emotional confusion, and I'm sitting here going, there's this fact, there's this fact, there's this fact. At the end, he tried to say that the payout would be 1/37th of what it actually was. And within like 6 sentences, I proved to a woman who reports the CEO that I was right. And everybody is just silent. And I'm like, how? This has been going on for a long time. And now and the interesting thing is I was sitting next to the grievance team handling the grievances for that insurance product when I started the company, about 13 years prior.
Wow.
Our souls have a plan.
Yeah.
We totally have a plan. It was amazing.
Yeah. And I'd love to go back to just a comment that you made about all the issues that you had in your back. So I'm a theta healer, and so what I am led to understand and learn from Creator is that when we have issues with our back, it's because we feel disconnected to Creator and we don't feel supported.
Very feminine is creation. I mean, my first enlightenment experience showed me that. And that was a year and a half ago. It was starting, and then I heard enlightenment. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I've lived in Chinese Buddhist monasteries, but no one ever taught me that enlightenment is an emotion.
Yeah.
So then I was guided to ask the universe, what do I need to see? And then I was shown, because 2 of the guys in my book are fire academy instructors. So I'm really connected to the first responder mental health crisis. I'm like, okay, well, that's all messed up. Let's go to the family. Oh, well, I know that's messed up. Okay, okay, take me back to the beginning, and then what happened, right? There was God, and then what? So I'm looking at God. I'm like, okay, so God, and I'm an analyst, right? God creates and God orchestrates. I'm like, well, that's feminine. I'm like, why are we ascribing feminine to the masculine? And I didn't go west with my religious studies history. I took an American religious studies course in my undergraduate. Mary Magdalene. I mean, I even had to Google this year, did Jesus have a wife? Didn't know about the Gnostics or early Christianity. I didn't know. So yeah, that's like.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And your mum, do you hear your mum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Through a lot. So she passed away in the morning, when the veil is the thinnest, about 3 a.m. And the hospital called me right away. I went right back to sleep, and then she came through and thanked me, because I went back to Florida, brought her home, and she was, quite ill. It was not easy, but she didn't have tubes, and she got to see her grandchildren and her children and my stepfather. And so I was able to give her the passing that her soul desired. And then when my stepfather got sick, the same year that I attempted suicide, I never even told him, because he had idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. When I called him when I got out of the psych ward, I knew what to do, and I knew how to take care of him. And that helped. And I'm a woman who needs a lot on my plate. I had to have my daughter in a rehab for eating disorder. My stepfather was critically terminally ill on hospice, and I'm starting a new job at my insurance company, and I gotta heal from my suicide. That's the level of kind of challenge that I need. And what I didn't know at the time, there's a prophecy about Mary Magdalene's return by the Cathars from southern France. Now, they were decimated, about 1 million of them, in the 13th century by the Inquisition from Spain. And that ties me to my Israeli last name that I'll get back to in a second. But the Cathars, like Mary Magdalene, the story is that she went to southern France and they started the religion Way of Love. They know that self-love creates heaven on earth. You don't go to, outside of yourself. But that's, like the church is an external solution to an internal problem. That'll never work. So they knew this, but then they're heretics because the church wanted control, right? They repressed the feminine, elevated the masculine and created a very structural hierarchy where women couldn't talk. But then the church is the is the bride of Christ. Like in Judaism did the same thing, like their temple, you got to go through a thin veil like the hymen once a year, and then you can go in and get forgiveness. Oh, that forgiveness is right brain. That's feminine. Oh, we go to Jesus for forgiveness. That's right brain. That's feminine. I mean, the more I looked to it, the more I unearthed, I was like, this is the repression of the feminine. Now we need to restore the feminine. Now is the time for self-healing that started in 2012 with the Mayan calendar. Like it all logically made sense why I was born in 1970, got a divorce. I'm unearthing all this darkness, and Jason's former FBI. And all the men I attract into my life are sexually overexpressed. Like Andrew Tate is one of the men that I've helped because I had a personal relationship with his best friend over DM on Instagram. And I didn't see it coming, but I followed my intuition. Jason got his job at GoDaddy 1 month before I reached out to Justin. 2 months later, Andrew was canceled on social media. Oh, internet security, and then FBI, and then solitary confinement. Like I'm working in lockstep with someone, but I needed all that time too. Like the solitary confinement with Andrew Tate, I would sit in the dark in my garage in a recliner and talk to Andrew's soul because I resonated with how alone he, felt to need to see it outside of himself at the level of solitary confinement in a Romanian prison for 4 months.
Yeah. And your mum, do you think that with her passing on your birthday at that time, do you think that that's like the ultimate gift that she could have given you to really open up your spiritual? Do you feel like that do you think that in some way she was spiritual as well, but she just couldn't express it where she was?
Well, she got so my mom's best friend, she was psychic. She did tarot readings, astrology readings. Like my son has mild autism. She saw in his chart that he was born without the book of social skills before he was ever diagnosed. It was amazing. It was amazing. So she, all the time. So that's why I knew psychic. I just didn't trust myself, believe in myself. I mean, my dad would leave me at home alone. Come home, and I would sleep in his bed because he only had a 2-bedroom condo at that point, and then bring donuts and then lie and say that he was there. Well, if I don't see you there, but you say you're there and you're the father, how am I supposed to trust what I see, right? Mm-hmm. I have a visual processing disorder that's in the fourth percentile. That's how bad it is. Something will be right in front of me on the screen, but where is it? And yes, it's an emotional block. It is. It comes up. It's an emotional block. It is. But yeah, that's how it impacted me.
So that just blows my mind that you just say that, because all of the information and the wisdom, like all the study you've done and all of that, you must have to really push through that visual piece for you to be able to understand what you're actually doing and studying.
And I have a slight hearing loss because I had tubes in my ears. My mom's a smoker. So I'm fighting a hearing loss, which I'm an aural, AURAL learner with dyslexia and difficulty, internalizing information because I don't believe the outside world. These are the challenges up against. I figured out that if I want to gain Mount Everest sized wisdom with a plethora of enlightenment experiences as Mary Magdalene soul, then I had to take on an equal and Mount Everest size of wounds, of trauma. And that's exactly what my life has been. But because I'm an older soul, I need that level of challenge, right? To unearth, to even notice it, right? if you're going to hurt me, you better bring it, because like you can go on my website and you can see the visions that I've had, and why I called the police station in September and said, I'm remembering all of these things from my childhood and I don't know what to do. Do I make a report? Like, yeah, we're going to come over, just make a report. And, I'm making a report on FBI and, GoDaddy exec. And then, Andrew Tate was warm up for the fire department, which was warm up for so basically I'm telling the police that I'm confronting the rapist culture in the fire department, in the FBI and executives. And people, multimillionaires like Justin Waller. And then, chess champions, which Andrew Tate's dad was, them too. And then Winston Churchill gives us his quote, which is, it is said that famous men are often the product of an unhappy childhood. I'm like, oh, so there it is, the deep wound for the profound knowledge and wisdom. And that's how our souls plan our lives, based on our wounds, because our souls are energy beings, our energy bodies. So the laws of physics apply. I'm like, once I figured that out, I was like, oh, this is helpful. Now I can kind of understand some things. Why has my life been like, what the heck? Yeah.
And so do you feel like that now that you're I suppose got a bit more clarity in relation to why you're here, what your journey is and your purpose, do you find that now when you're healing things that you're able to heal it and it's like, okay, that part of it's done, what else do I need to do? Like, is it really like a big list of things that you need to work through that you're comfortably working through?
No, so I've been, okay, so I would say, how does it happen now? It's day by day.
Right.
So like Jason, he came through in my first enlightenment experience. Like, Jason, what's Jason doing here? But I still had a ton of cognitive dissonance. I had a picture of him in my phone from my high school yearbook that I found 2 years prior. Oh, he used to stare at me all the time. Maybe guys like this have liked me before. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. And when you don't have that many pieces, it takes time to make all those connections, but now all the pieces are there. So I understand why when I'm being shown a lesson, like visual processing disorder, I've going on podcasts and finding podcasts on Facebook, and I didn't see the form. So I damned the guy. He's like, well, you can't just, cut the line by, I'm like, oh, making assumptions about my behavior means no, thank you. Well, then he wanted to keep going because now I'm drawing a healthy boundary. You see? So like the point, it was on purpose for me not to see the link so I could show him the universe is a mirror and bring this wisdom to him. And then the final one, I said, I have no interest in going on your podcast at all. I am drawing a boundary with you like I've done with several other men like Andrew Tate on my own dime because it heals me too. End of story. And I know now that like Carl Jung says, where your fear is, there is your task.
Yeah.
So when I'm confronted with a fear, hit it head on. Because if I don't, then my soul has to find other ways to get me to do it. And then it's more time consuming. So now my life is really, because I just face the fear, up, face the fear, face the fear, face the fear. And this has been the ladder of self-belief I've climbed this year. Is I published my book in April. Then around my birthday on June 25th, right, opposite December 25th, cardinal Cancer sign, water, the whole thing. I'm like, JC, did Jesus have a wife? Like, I'm on the Jesus Council, agent of God, which means prophet in biblical Hebrew. Hide things in one lifetime, you find them in another. Oh, the Gospel of Mary, and all the other Gospels. And, so I just started believing that and grounding that. And then September, I fully grounded that. And then, I fully grounded that. And then I just follow my intuition tells me what to do. And I find out why later. Well, September 14th, I started making YouTube videos about being Mary Magdalene soul. Now, I didn't know what was coming on what is the Shabbat of return. Shabbat Shuvah is the Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. That's their holiest time. It's a time of self-reflection. That's feminine. It's feminine time is their holiest time, but men are better than women? Wait a second. Okay, so on the Friday, I wasn't putting the pieces together because I am not Jewish. My ex-husband's secular, right? Oh, this is my 6 divine feminine love strategies. Oh, I wanted to put this all in one paper. Let me just put it all in one paper. Oh, let me go make a video. Okay, cool. Next day, I make 2 videos, and then I ask the question: has the church been successful at teaching love thy enemy? And I would say it hasn't. That's really love thyself. The perception of an enemy is the falsehood. So we're all souls having a human experience. So there's no enemies here. Then I sat in my chair, another huge enlightenment experience, like, oh, rapture, this is the rapture, oh, second coming, oh. And I'm sharing this self-love strategies. And so the next day, my intuition says, look up Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I'm like, oh, it's the biggest day of self-reflection of the year. And then I do work on the Messiah, because there's a lot of prophecies that the Messiah was going to come that week in September. Right, in September 22nd, 23rd, that we're in Rosh Hashanah, and all the horns were being blown, and there was the red moon and the eclipse, and all these prophecies. Like, oh, the Messiah, they think it's a covenant written on our hearts that bypasses scripture. I'm like, that's an enlightenment experience, And I go, it's all on my website, Second Coming, you can read it all up. And so then I'm like, oh, that was that. And no one knows when or how, no one knows when, and there's no prophecy for Shabbat Shuvah 2025 or 5786 in the Hebrew calendar. So I made some more videos, and then I stopped making my videos. And then what came out of me was my Wisdom of Peace plan, which shows how change is an inside job, how Jews must hate themselves a lot to attract so much hate into their lives. And I use all the science to describe it. So the Jews need to admit they hate themselves. America's got to stop the lobbyists like AIPAC first, like got enough already. Then maybe Islam will take, and kill all Jews out of their texts. Like, this has got to stop, right? And then China needs to say, I need help. And I saw all of that intuitively before I remembered Yitzhak Rabin. And that was just a few weeks ago. And so now I've written that up, and now I'm getting it out. And that's how my life happens. I don't know what the plan is. Like, I haven't talked to Jason yet, but if I just called the police, probably isn't time yet, Yeah. And our souls talk constantly, and very traumatic childhood he had. He's unearthing a lot of darkness. Like my first guy, Tim, he very much into BDSM. Well, where's BDSM.com registered? Oh, a GoDaddy. Oh, right after I reach out to Jason, all this BDSM contract stuff coming out, and baby killing and sex trafficking. He's FBI. So, what am I doing? I'm going to quote Carl Jung again. One does not become enlightened by imagining beings of light, like Jesus, but by making their darkness conscious.
Yeah.
So his soul and my soul, Christ and Sophia, we come here and we're gnarly. So we take on the gnarly work to help ourselves and help everybody else.
Yeah.
We're not different than anybody else. Those are just the lessons that we need to learn. And then we have these roles on Earth. Beyond Earth, I don't friggin' know. I'm just trying to let's stop killing each other on Earth, right? So, but that was, it's November 3rd, and that's been a lot to accept this year. That's a lot to accept.
It's really interesting when you're just talking about that, that mirror is always what we need to be working on ourselves. And I tell you what, when that's, you just go, really? Oh, that's tough, isn't it? And then you realize why a lot of people shy away from doing the work on themselves, because doing this work is not easy at times, particularly when you're looking at that mirror, because it can be shocking.
Feedback loop. If I had to accept that every time I see selfishness outside of myself, that is my soul showing me my own selfishness.
Yeah.
Every time I see beauty outside of myself, that is my soul showing me my own beauty. And in accepting that, it's liberating, but it's like, oh my God. And if you take a show like The View, where they're constantly making ad hominem attacks on racist and misogyny, I'm like, those women are talking about themselves. The whole world is doing it, and we're this unaware, and then we're killing each other because of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is the time. This is the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I'm going to take a break and just hear from our sponsors. And then what I'd like to do after we come back, I'd really love to talk to you about mental health and well-being.
Yes.
What it means for you, what do you do, what has worked for you in the past and what you're doing now. So I'd love to dive into that if we can.
For sure.
Great. Excellent. All right. So we'll just hear from the sponsors of the show and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, Kerry.
Thank you.
So let's talk about mental health and well-being. So you've been on a very big journey, but I'd love to talk about just even the last couple of years. What sort of things do you do to make sure that you're maintaining your mental health and well-being while you're being on this journey, particularly this new journey, this purpose that you're following?
So what I noticed, because it's been 10 years, is that I'm following simple frameworks.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I follow is I call appreciate, learn, forgive equals ego death. So I find the gratitude for every lesson. And that is a heart opener, like emotionally and physically. Like, you have to surrender to your pain. If you're in fight or flight, you can't get in there. And that was me for 35 years. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. So I start with appreciation. You can do that in different ways. You can do that with a journal, and I've done that, where I write 3 things I appreciate about my life. You can start that with a gratitude meditation. You can do, walk barefoot in nature while being grateful for nature. That's another way. Do something that's a heart opener, okay, and surrender. Then it's time for self-reflection. And that can happen in, a lot of different ways. I'm an analyst, so for me, questions work really well. Like, what is the wisdom inside the wound? What can I learn from this challenge? What's the takeaway here? I'm seeing terrible. How am I terrible? Like, and I, in the book and on my website, you can a lot more, and everyone kind of resonates different questions. But basically, the questions are to kind of help corral you in your pain, take responsibility from your pain, and then learn from it. And in that process, I had to give myself, starting in 2021, a huge permission to rest. And that's something I didn't do my whole life. And when my psychic gifts started opening up and I'm like channeling constantly, I was running my adrenal system into the ground, and I wasn't sleeping even more until like 6 months later. I'm like, oh my, I just need to lay in my bed. Yeah. And that is when I found something so profound in me, that I had a fear of all men. I feared half the population. And so I was constantly anxious in public, and I went to visit my older daughter that day in a market she was doing, and she noticed instantly that I was different. Mom, what'd you do? I'm like, oh, I found that. I turned fear all men into men protect me. Sure, some men are scary, but not all men. Yeah. And when I have fear of all men in me, we attract what we are. I attract fearful, scary men.
Yeah.
And so I had that in me, but I still had a fear of being raped. So I attracted Justin Waller, Andrew Tate, 2 Fire Academy instructors, like decorated, right? Like 167, 164. And then Jason's like 6'2", 6'3", like men I have no chance with physically.
Yep.
And then what I realized is once I kind of unearthed the wisdom, like there's the, that's the darkness is fear all men, the darkness conscious, the conscious is men protect me. Then the forgiveness, I just let it go. So when I let it go, then it helps the other people involved let it go. And I'm the emotional center. So here's the thing that I learned about Mary Magdalene. So if I don't admit that I'm Mary Magdalene and like Jesus Christ, how is the world going to unearth the pain around the crucifixion and around, so many things. So I got it. I'm the emotional center. I got to go first. So that I would say staying inside of that framework, and that keeps me out of regret and remorse. Not that I never feel it. I just don't live it.
Yeah.
It's a lesson, not a life sentence. It keeps me out of it's a lesson and not a life sentence problem that I was in for 35 years.
Yeah. Because you're almost unemotionally viewing it to be able to heal it, as opposed to going back into the emotion to feel it again to heal it. Like I feel like that there's a distinct difference in that. Sometimes we need to go back into the emotion to really, really heal it. But then there are other times where actually it's too painful and the lesson isn't about feeling it again. It's just about healing it.
Just healing it.
Viewing it.
I mean, one reason I had to survive a suicide attempt was that a few months ago, talking to Jason's soul, the two of us had to get through pain that we wanted to eviscerate our own souls. So painful in childhood, and it was just like, it just was between us, it just was. And so it's just like my ability, and I had to work through all of my pain so that I could take him through his pain, which is still more of my pain, but I would say it's like 90-10 in some ways, and I felt that challenge with the first guy because I'm like, I'm so in my pain and I'm trying to help you some capacity. Cause I had like, I was like 90-10, where he needed the 90 where, I wasn't there yet. I mean, he healed a ton, I healed a ton, but I would say that, the appreciate, learn, forgive is really helpful.
And I love that everything is also based on gratitude, because gratitude just gives all of our guides and our angels and every, creator, whoever is supporting you from a spiritual point of view, they love gratitude. Because when we're grateful, like, I'm like, our energy shifts, and then they go, ooh, she really loves that. Let's give her more. Oh, what else can we put in front of her that she's going to be grateful for? It's such a beautiful way, just even energetically, but mental health wise as well.
And I mean, to share something about myself, when I was 30, after my older daughter was born, I almost died. I went back to work after 3 weeks. I didn't value my ability to create human life. I didn't value my womb and what came out of my womb, and, oh gosh, what was I? Oh, and I almost died,
Wow.
Yeah. I almost died afterwards. And then my stepfather told me that I needed to be grateful to God. And I had no idea how to do that. I had zero idea how to be grateful for God. And I have a master's degree in religious studies, but that was, academic. I'd lived in Israel, but they're secular. Like Amit's great grandfather was the top Sephardic rabbi in Haifa, but why is he secular? So like you get back to like Wisdom of Peace plan, it kind of brings all these pieces back together where the Cathars were, they were killed. And then, but the Cathars and then the Bouzaglo Jews were together in Eastern Spain. And the like the Sephardic Jews are more mystical, more kind of respect the feminine, like early Christians are more mystical, right? And so they recognize the feminine. So not only like Bouzaglos are discriminated against inside of Israel, but why, right? Expression of the feminine, I think, by the Ashkenazi Jews, but then they're more legal Torah, and so they're hating on their own inside of themselves. Itzhak Rabin's assassination is one more example of that, where a really conservative Jew, or Orthodox, I think it was, killed him, and he was more left leaning, like my ex-husband, and that was 2 months after I got married. So there's a lot of like hate to get into there, like inside of Israel and then outside of Israel. And it's just, it's painful. Yeah. But that's yeah.
Wow. Do your kids, like, is the mental health piece for them, like the gratitude piece in particular, is it something that they grasp onto as well? Not grasp onto, it's the wrong word, but is it something that they practice as well?
Okay, so this is a great question that's coming up. So my older two, yes. My older daughter, she's the most advanced. My son, he's the most psychic. My son, I kept going the wrong way. But anyway, what's happening right now is my younger daughter still has a serious eating disorder, and I just texted. I haven't talked to her dad in years. He doesn't want to talk, and I just texted him today because I talked to my older daughter over the weekend. I said, Orly is screaming family pain. We need to come together as a family. This whole keep everybody separate, that's just screaming pain. Like, she came out of me and like, I don't have anywhere to go on Thanksgiving. My family doesn't talk to me because that's, anyway. That's another story, but you can imagine that they haven't healed yet. And so I just reached out today and said, our daughter's committing slow suicide. We need to come together to heal our daughter. Like, but this is how much pain there is, And then I've already written the Wisdom of Peace plan and the whole thing, get into it about Jews, and I go straight there. I had the second coming, and I went straight back to Israel, and then and I even asked my older daughter. I said, ask your dad what Shabbat Shuvah is. Like reflection, right? 30 years, we met 30 years ago, almost. And, he doesn't know what it is. I bet he doesn't know what it is. And then she got to learn what it is. And I don't know what happened next, but, I'm reminding him that he's a Jew, and he has pain and,
Yeah. Religion's got a lot to answer for, hasn't it? It's very interesting because I think Creator and God is looking down on the world going, this is not what my message is. My message is for everyone to just love each other and be kind,
What I realize is that about 2,500 years ago, Yahweh had a wife, Asherah. She was slowly starting to be repressed about 2,500 years ago. And in the second century of the Common Era, it was really repressed. And that was when the masculine was rising. And so they repressed the feminine. It was all the imperialism in Europe and knowledge. And this is how we balance each other out. Like, I'm like, okay, so we had it, but we didn't have the knowledge. So we had to hold space for all this knowledge and technology to come out because, we want to go to different, planets and whatever. We want to do aliens and stuff. So that had to come. And then that was repression of the feminine. But now, and it's like, was just amazing to see. And then to accept that we're multi-dimensional beings. And this is all happening at once. And then because I asked myself, well, why can't we just get into the body as a soul? Like, why do we have to go through this slow process of finding wisdom? Oh, well, the human body's nervous system can't recalibrate that quickly.
Yeah.
And I went from a ton of shame gear, into changing that to love, compassion, enlightenment. So I just naturally seek that out and attract that in. That's a slow process. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah. I definitely find that when I spiritually up level, spiritually I'm there, but then my body's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Give me time to catch up. Sometimes I'll get a migraine or I'll get sick, or I'm like, you know what, I've got no energy. I have to have a day off, in a sense, because spiritually, energetically, I'm there, but my body's like, I'm trying to catch up, because it's the 3D. It's like the physical thing. So, yeah, really interesting.
Very interesting. And I had to super just like on every level accept that the 5D goes first, the 3D goes second, women go first. Like, it used to be a woman who was drop a handkerchief in front of a man. And now I'm like, well, men aren't coming up to me. Girlfriend, you don't know how to be a girl. Because we taught women to leave the center and go occupy the orbiter, the providing and protecting. And so when the woman left the center, destruction of the nuclear family, that destroys society. That's a huge wound.
Yeah.
And, that's just not going to work in the long term, which hence we are 20 years from population collapse.
Yeah.
So, while women say they want that, but what brings hormonal balance? What brings emotional balance is women need to be in their right brain for most of the day and not their left brain.
Right.
And that's home life. Like, what do I do now? I'm in and out of enlightenment almost every day. I'm exhausted. I haven't barely gone to yoga in a year and a half, where I was there 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
But this is what was necessary for me to get the book out, and then accept, and then second coming, and visit, and then podcasts, like 60 podcasts I've been on since June. It's but this is the listening. This is the mental health is I have to listen to myself. Yeah. I could mentally tell myself, no, Kerry, your heart is wrong. But oh, wait, I know that my heart, the neurological structure in my heart is far more complex than my brain and sends far more signals to my brain the other way around. And the electromagnetic field is 5,000 times stronger. So maybe my heart knows a thing or two.
Yeah.
It might.
Absolutely. So we've actually only got a couple of minutes left. I could sit here for hours and talk to you. I mean, we felt like that when we first met last month. So there is so many other things that we could explore, but we are hampered by time today. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I love to ask all of my guests before we wrap up our conversation. So what is one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
Changing the world is an inside job.
Oh, I felt that.
Thank you. And that's my peace plan is called changing the world is an inside job, because blaming everybody for our problems doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to have a healthy relationship, I have to change and attract that into my life.
And love yourself.
Yeah, I had to upgrade, and a lot of amazing things happened to me when I accepted that reality that the only problem I have is my self-hate.
Yeah. Yeah. A beautiful, absolutely beautiful way for us to finish our conversation. Thank you just so much for joining today and for sharing your story, because I know that this is the beginning of a new journey that you're on. And I'm just really grateful that you're using your voice to just share all of this knowledge, this wisdom, who you are, showing up exactly who you are and who you're meant to be. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. I know this is going out on December 24th. It's like all these synchronicities. Jason's coming. He's coming. He'll come.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I too would love to thank all of my amazing and dedicated audience and supporters of this show. I'm really grateful for everyone's support that you've shown me this year. And yes, so it's in America, it'll be the 23rd of December, and in Australia today, it's the 24th. So I just want to wish everyone a happy and wonderful holiday season. Here in Australia, we're in the middle of summer, but for everyone else in the US and other places, you're in the depth of winter. So I hope that your days are filled with love, gratitude, healing, and laughter. Thank you so much, Kerry.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.